like I never really had somebody that actually took me under their wing and stuck with me the whole time. Maybe it was in short bits. I had somebody like if there was issues with what Red Thunder was doing, it was all behind the scenes and no one ever pulled me to the side.
All right, that's a glaring point. If anybody did have me under their wing, it was for a short period of time. Then he calls himself Red Thunder. Okay, maybe they only took you under your wing for a short time, Clint Frazier, is because you speak about yourself in the third person and call yourself Red Thunder. Do you know how douchebaggy that sounds? I think either that hat is too tight, because if brains were dynamite, this guy couldn't blow his nose.
That's drilled to right field. Going back, Clemens, he's going to play it off the base of the wall. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. Stopping at third is Bellinger. Stopping at first is Stanton. 2 more ribbies, and the Yankees lead this one 8-1.
Good evening, and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. The Yankees mash the Twins in the Bronx, and we got part 2 of our Clint Frazier deep dive. We got highlights. We got Aaron Boone's post-game press conference. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports Talk for sports nuts.
Welcome to another episode of the New York Minute. The Yankees mash the Twins, and you know what? Death, taxes, and the Yankees beating the Twins are things we can always rely on, folks. And this is what I was talking about, the Yankees getting right, getting their calibration and getting their house, bullpen, dugout, and managerial staff in line for a postseason push. Carlos Rodón, 7 innings tonight. The Yankees starters have responded. The Yankees have needed length from their starters, and they have gotten it. It has given the bullpen rest. Big G is playing out of his mind. And I got to call myself out right now. I was making a bunch of funny memes, which are funny. New York Minute, NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. But I was saying he's Frankenstein with moon boots. And hey, man, he's played a good right field. I know he looks lethargic in his motions, but he's very under control. He had a good throw from right field the other night, almost got the guy at home plate, and he's hitting out of his mind. Now, this is where analytics meets old baseball. When a guy plays in the field and gets that rhythm of playing baseball every day, they usually do better. When a guy makes a play in the outfield, like a spectacular catch or a really good defensive play, usually when he gets up to bat that inning, they usually get a hit. So I think that Big G is even more into the rhythm of the game because it's really hard to camp out on the bench for 3 innings until you got a hit again. And especially that dude, that big, is got to keep moving. 6'6", and you see he's moving in the Bronx tonight. So now the Yankees are getting right. Their bullpen's getting rest. Their starters are giving them length. So it's all good in baseball land. And you know what? I can't stand. Don't be that Yankee fan, by the way, that says, well, you know, they beat the Twins. The Yankees cannot help who is in front of them and who is on their schedule. What you want them to lose the games? I just can't stand some of the thinking and some of the thinking behind Yankee fans sometimes, because it's like, yeah, they beat the Twins. That's great. But this 8-game stretch right now, the games that we're having against the Twins, we're going to St. Louis, then 2 against Tampa Bay to approach the Boston Red Sox series, and that is going to be the most crucial series of the year. If the Yankees lose that series, it's all doom and gloom. If the Yankees beat the Red Sox, now we're talking, and now we're talking about the division. Because Toronto is looking at a buzzsaw. I think the next 7 starters that they're looking at in the next 7 games are top 10 in all of Major League Baseball, and they got to see Paul Skeens throw him in there. So, yeah, Toronto's got an uphill battle. But you know what? Everything's fine in Yankee land. But if you were watching the show last night, tonight is part 2 of our Clint Frazier expose. Yeah, we're getting fancy around here at New York Minute. Clint Frazier was spilling the tea on the New York Yankees last night, talking about their farm system, talking about Cashman, talking about Boone. You can check that in the like at the end of the video. But my point was, I started scratching my head and going, why are we listening to Clint Frazier?
What was tougher for you, New York fans or New York media? Being 22 years old, being the next hope for the Indians, because I can say the Indians, they were the Indians at that time. So who was tougher, the media or the fans?
I think the media. I think that, like, you know, there was because, like, here's the thing, dude. Like, I came in not knowing anything about New York baseball, right? Like, I genuinely did not watch baseball growing up as a kid. If I did, it was like Ryan Howard was the only guy that I really focused on. And I really didn't know much beyond his years. So when I come in week one, you know, they're asking me if I asked Mickey Mantle's number to be unretired so I could wear it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't even know what number this guy wears.
So whose fault is that? Listen, man, we got to stop using the excuse that you were a 21-year-old kid. Okay, a child is under the age of 13. When you're 21, okay, listen, man, you can go to war, you can drink, you can make a lot of decisions, you can vote. So we need to stop with this 21-year-old kid shit. You're a professional at 21 playing the game of baseball. And it doesn't occur to you, Clint Frazier, to look into one of the most historic franchises in all of the sport that you grew up playing that you're going to make a profession of. Even if you're going to the Cincinnati Reds, don't you think that you might want to stop looking at TikTok for a few minutes and maybe Google the franchise that you're going to? So I find I'm smelling the excuse train right now. I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt now. I haven't seen this video yet, so we're digging into this together. So Clint Frazier, but like, yo, man, you don't know number 7 is Mickey Mantle? Like, people who don't even watch baseball know who Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle is. You know, like, you can't walk into that situation. And also,
did you feel like at one point coming over from the Indians, they were a little too analytical, a little too just in that direction for you?
I mean, I remember being told by a specific person in the analytics department that they didn't believe in, like, players getting hot, you know, and that was all analytically driven. And that was their way of saying, like, for instance, like, I could be 55 for 55 and they would be like, he's not hot. Like, it's going to.
okay, so Clint Frazier got this secondhand from some guy that worked in the franchise, and this is what he was told in a game of telephone. I think that Clint Frazier's the problem. When you play 7 years, okay, you play in 280 games, you have 190 hits, 269 strikeouts, you sound like sour grapes to me. This is the thing. I said last night on the show that I don't know if it was sour grapes or there was some validity to it. Yes, there is some semblance of truth to what Clint Frazier is saying. But if you notice the way that he talks in the third person, the Red Thunder bullshit, I even heard reports the whole time that he was here that he was not liked in the locker room. He had 11 injuries with the Yankees. And mind you, he had concussion problems. He didn't disclose his first 2 concussions with the New York Yankees, one in spring training and the second one. Those are the ones that he never adjusted from and got vertigo. Then he goes on this tour where he says that the Yankees screwed up his career. But guess what? The White Sox and other teams wouldn't have acquired you, Clint Frazier, if they actually thought you were damaged goods. It seems like you were around collecting a paycheck and your mouth works better than your baseball ability. In fact, I heard about your bat speed my whole life, it seems like, from Brian Cashman. The only thing faster than your bat speed seems like your mouth when you're trying to pawn off your podcast, which got 10,000 views on YouTube, which is really not good for a salacious podcast launch. He's on foul territory. We saw this clip and now the new podcast, but I really don't see what's more behind a guy that only knows about baseball is Ryan Howard growing up and goes to the New York Yankees and doesn't even find himself looking at Google to find information on the most historic franchise in the world. You can find a Yankee hat in any corner of the globe, and that's why Brian Cashman probably washed his hands of this dude as soon as he possibly could, because he's damaged goods even before the injuries.
Ben Keller trade for Andrew Miller, but you were the marquee piece coming back in.
Now, if you guys remember, that's how we acquired Clint Frazier when the Yankees were sellers for the first time in a real long time. They sold Chapman and they traded Miller, and they got a lot of pieces back. Gleyber Torres was part of that bunch. Where is the agent? Where is his handlers? Who is helping this kid?
And I'm being told by people with the Yankees, like, you cannot say that. And the only people that were asking me the questions that backed me into a bad corner were the media. So for me, I felt like they saw that, you know, I was going to give an authentic answer. I was going to be honest.
Or Clint, maybe the New York media just thought an alien that dropped from planet Zumak would know the fact that number 7's retired on the New York Yankees and his name's Mickey Mantle. Do you know the 4th highest name that's written in to the presidential election every year? You can write in your choice. It's Mickey Mantle. The 3rd is Mickey Mouse. A little fact. You get a bunch of facts right here, New York Minute. Give me a like, give me a subscribe for the factoid. New York Minute on Instagram, NEWYRKMIN. I'm starting to smell more of that odor of the excuses, folks.
Hey, Clint, it's crazy what you're. Hey, Clint, it's crazy what you're talking about.
We got 2 backwards hats on this show? Oh, yeah, what's going on with it? The generic, that looks like one you buy at the bodega next to the gloves with the fingers cut off. That's the hat he's making. Didn't this guy play in Major League Baseball and make millions of dollars, and he has the generic hat? That looks like an undercover cop hat. Hey, buddy, you know where I can score some dope?
About how they tried to get you to do this, but was there a veteran guy that grabbed you and said, hey, you don't have to do this, you don't have to speak about this, you don't have to answer this question, you can give the Derek Jeter, say a bunch of words and don't really say anything, and they'll all love you no matter what? There was no veteran that grabbed you and said, hey, let's do this a little bit differently?
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I can't remember a specific moment where somebody came up to me and was like, hey, brother, you need to go this direction instead of going that direction. And, you know, ultimately, I genuinely, like, and I say this with no disdain, no nothing towards anyone. Like, I never really had somebody that actually took me under their wing and stuck with me the whole time. Maybe it was in short bits. I had somebody, like, if there was issues with what Red Thunder was doing, it was all behind the scenes and no one ever pulled me to the side.
All right. That's a glaring point. If anybody did have me under their wing, it was for a short period of time. Then he calls himself Red Thunder. Okay, maybe they only took you under your wing for a short time, Clint Frazier, is because you speak about yourself in the 3rd person and call yourself Red Thunder. Do you know how douchebaggy that sounds? Listen, man, I think either that hat is too tight, because if brains were dynamite, this guy couldn't blow his nose, all right? So everything that he said so far is an excuse. He could go up to one of the players on the team and say, hey, man, how do I handle this situation? And they might help you out. But Red Thunder don't ask nobody no advice, huh? What a moron. Now let's go to Aaron Boone's post-game press conference. So remember how I said last night as a joke that Aaron Boone, anytime they win, it's a lot longer? So last night was 6 minutes. Tonight, 8 minutes. What, you guys don't want to get pizza after? Does anybody have any more questions? Boone loves the media when the Yankees win. Let's hear from the skip, who's got to be happy with the length. No Diddy from his starters.
Aaron, what do you think allowed the offense to thrive tonight?
I mean, just a little bit from everyone, really. You know, and had a chance even first half of the game to really break it open. And, you know, we had traffic all night.
Judge and Stanton 54 times with a home run in the same game, 3rd most in Yankee history. But I got to admit, guys, when this deal went down initially, we thought it was going to be a lot more than that. I remember, let's go back in the Wayback Machine. I was like, how many home runs? They could hit 100 combined home runs together because Stanton was just coming off of that MVP caliber season and Judge was coming into his own. But it's really never, listen, Stan's worth his weight in gold. He's been playing excellent lately. He's clutch in the playoffs, but just let me know in the comments below, did he ever live up to the contract, or is the story unwritten and we don't know yet? Because if he does something in the postseason again this year and he goes off, we might have to build a statue, even though he runs like one, for Giancarlo Stanton.
And it seemed like couldn't get that big one to break through, but Volpe obviously hits the 3-run homer to kind of give us a good cushion there, and then they just kept pressuring him all night. Big night for G.
Volpe been playing better since the yips and all that stuff. He's been doing well since the All-Star break. I gotta give credit where credit's due. The power numbers are up. The defense looks a lot more solid. Him and Jazz look like they're back on the same page. Don't get me wrong. Everybody looks good against the Minnesota Twins. I get it. In our record, winning percentage. But you know what? There's a certain point where guys need reps in Major League Baseball games where they're not getting their brains bashed in all the time.
We got to keep it going.
You mentioned Giancarlo. Just what's been standing out about the production as of late?
I think it's just that
I see the technicians got the nose microphone just jacked up again tonight. I can't even do it on my phone. It's just like, hey, Aaron Boone, how's those nostrils doing? Great.
the quality of the at bat. I mean, he's controlling the strike zone. I feel like as good as I've seen him.
The one thing you got to remember about Big G, when he came back, he didn't have the home runs. He's such a natural power hitter. He can just swing level, and the balls will go over the fence. Remember the golf shot against Texas the other night? It literally just skimmed off the wall. But he is so good that they never sent him down to spring training. So when he's hurt for an extended period of time, he gets his spring training reps up on the major league level in the middle of games. So you have to take that into consideration with the Yankees losing as well, is because Giancarlo Stanton was doing spring training reps, and everyone's like, he looks lost at the plate. Yeah, because he didn't go down to AAA and play in 11 games and get ready. He did it up here, and he is a professional hitter. It seems like the game is slowing down for him. And if you talk to any dudes who are at the top of their game for a long time, the game slows down, but they run out of time because of age and just wear and tear from playing sports.
He's obviously going up there with a good plan, and when he's getting the pitch he's looking for, he's doing damage with it. But I think it starts with just really controlling the strike zone for him.
Yesterday, you told us one guy that you never worry about is Aaron Judge, and today, for good reason, home run in his first at bat, walked three times. Just what looked in sync about him today, or what looked different about him today?
Like I said on last night's broadcast, Aaron Judge had been getting loud outs, and he is starting to hit him over the fence. Aaron Judge is starting to warm up. Giancarlo Stanton is warming up. Volpe looks like he is starting to actually play some heads-up baseball. Arrows are pointing in the right direction, and a one-hitter combined from the bullpen and the starting rotation tonight.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job of just kind of had some easy takes. I thought, obviously they were pitching carefully to him there, especially after the homer, where your mind is for a minute, both kind of being real careful. And I thought he was real under control just from his takes, and real in the middle of all the production.
With Rodón, a little bit of a slow start there in that first inning, but really settled in. What was the adjustment he made that allowed him to work late into the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, it's like, is he going to get out of the first inning? I mean, that's where your mind is for a minute. I think he was ahead of every guy. I think he even 1-2 with just about every guy. And then finally,
well, that's the double-edged sword that is Carlos Rodón, because he will put guys on base. He will get lost in the middle of innings. But this is the guy that Brian Cashman signed. It took a couple of years for him to get acclimated to the New York media, the New York scene, whatever. I think he might have been a Yankee fan growing up. They all kind of say that. But I think that also adds to the pressure. Look at Anthony Volpe. I think the pinstripes are heavy on him because he grew up as a Yankee fan. But Carlos Rodón, he's looking Cy Young caliber. He won't win it in the American League this year, but he has been lights out. And tonight he comes back, and I've been clamoring for him to miss a start so he has energy going into the long stretch of the rest of the season. But tonight he looked great. Bullpen comes in, combined one hitter. That's what you have to be so happy about, is not so much them beating the Minnesota Twins because they are a bad team. It's about the New York Yankees only giving up one hit, the bullpen not blowing it, and the starting pitcher going more than 5 innings because like I gave you the stat, it was 5 out of 40 since June 29th before last night's game and tonight's game. So the Yankees are checking off the boxes, which they need to do to lead up until the big series against Boston. It's going to be huge, folks. By the way, I just saw a story. I'm going to cover this tomorrow night. Shohei Ohtani in a allegedly sabotaged a deal for over $224 million real estate deal. And I want to know, when are we going to start thinking that Shohei Ohtani is a good guy and that he bet on baseball and he let his interpreter take the rap, and the interpreter isn't even in jail yet? So I'm going to dive into that on tomorrow's broadcast because I've been giving you a little extra. The games have been laughers, so I want to give you a little extra here on New York Minute. That's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Bye.